internet. Today I am coming at you with my fall book haul. I have 17 books to haul today, so let's just jump right into it. The very first book is actually one that I bought over the summer, but I forgot to haul it in my summer book haul, so I wanted to put it in the very beginning of this one, and that is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This is an adult thriller about this woman who spies on her neighbors. And that's really all I know about it. I just kind of randomly picked it up. I haven't read a ton of thrillers, but it's something that I want to kind of start getting into. Ones that aren't particularly scary. And I got this at McKay's, my local used bookstore, and it sounded intriguing, so I picked it up. So now let's jump into the actual fall book haul. First off are 4 books that I actually got in September when Barnes & Noble was having their summer book haul whatever sale, and they basically had a selection of books that were 50% off for like a week. And obviously I had to partake in that because I'm me. And I bought 4 books at that book sale. The first one I have is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is a book that was released earlier this year. It is a novella that takes place after A Court of Wings and Ruin, and it was marketed as like the bridge book between the original A Court of Thorns and Roses trilogy and her next trilogy. I just recently finished reading it and I didn't really see why it's pitched as a bridge book, but I'm gonna get more into that in my December wrap up. So if you're curious in my thoughts, you can watch that. But anyway, I picked this up because I knew that I want to read it at some point, even though I wasn't really like that excited about it. And since it was 50% off, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to go ahead and buy it. At that sale, I also got The Bookshop of Yesterdays by Amy Meyerson. This is an adult fiction book. I believe it has to do with this woman's, I want to say uncle, passing away, and she inherits his bookshop. And I don't know anything else about it. I'd never even heard of this book until this book sale, but it sounds intriguing in a way. I know a couple of other booktubers that went to this sale hauled this book as well. That's actually how I found out about it. I haven't read it yet, but I guess we'll see if I like it when I get around to it. The next book I got at this book sale was Dear Madam President, An Open Letter to the Women Who Will Run the World by Jennifer Palmieri. Not sure if I'm saying that last name right. I'm guessing this is just exactly what it sounds like. I like little inspirational feminist books like this, so I decided to pick it up because eventually I'm going to be in the mood for something like this, and now I have it. And the last book I bought at the Barnes & Noble book sale was Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is the new paperback edition that came out earlier this year, which I actually think I prefer over the hardcover. I think both covers are pretty, but I'm particularly drawn to this one. I have not read this yet either. I actually am right now reading my very first Laini Taylor book. So Laini Taylor is still a pretty new author to me. But I've heard really, really good things about this book, and I know that the sequel just came out as well. I believe this is a duology. So at some point I'm gonna want to jump into this because it sounds interesting. It's about a librarian named Laszlo Strange and something about the city of Weep. Every time I hear somebody pitch this book, it's never the same, so I don't have like an entire like full grasp of what it's about, but I've heard it's really good, so I'd like to read it sometime, probably next year. Moving on, so the next book I have to haul is The Hotel Between by Shawn Easley. This is a new middle grade book that came out this year, and I actually first got an e-arc of this book, and I liked it enough to where I decided to purchase my own copy when it came out. I actually have a review up of this book, so if you are interested in that, I will link it down below. But this is a middle grade story about 2 twins named Cameron and Cass. And Cameron ends up stumbling upon this place called the Hotel Between, which is a magical hotel that has doors to different places in the world. And I thought it was a really charming story. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, if you want to know my thoughts, I have a review that I filmed, so you can go watch that. But I think this book is definitely underrated. I thought it was really good. It's diverse and that Cass is disabled, and there are a lot of other different races of characters in this book as well, and I really thought that that was really awesome. The next book I have is a pretty popular book, and that is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I'm actually currently reading this book. But I bought this book right after I saw the movie because I thought the movie was hilarious and I loved it, and I immediately went to Target and bought this book. If you somehow live under a rock and have not heard of this book, it's an adult kind of rom-com about this girl named Rachel Chu who is going to Singapore with her boyfriend because his best friend is getting married and he's the best man. But Rachel doesn't know that her boyfriend's family is like super rich. Like I said, I really enjoyed the movie, so I decided I wanted to start reading the series. So I'm starting with the first book. I finally got the audiobook, and then I plan on buying and continuing the rest of the books once I get through this one. The next book I have, I actually won whenever I was participating in a Twitter sprint during the BookTube-a-thon earlier this summer, and I finally got it in the month of September from Ariel Bissett, so thanks Ariel for sending this my way. But that book is Mariam Sharma Hits the Road by Shiva Karim. I was really excited to win it. This just is basically a summer road trip book. That's all I really know about it. That's all I really want to know about it. I'm waiting until this summer to read it. But it was one that caught my eye, and I'm really excited that I won it, so I'll be reading this sometime this summer. The next book I have is one of my most anticipated books of this year, and I still haven't read it, but that's a conversation for another time. And that book is Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This is the sequel to Vicious, which is one of my favorite books I read this year, and it follows the same characters from Vicious, Victor and Eli and the gang, but there are also some new characters in this, and I've heard really good things about this book. It recently won a Goodreads Choice Award, I want to say in the sci-fi category. And Victoria Schwab is my favorite author. I've said that in several videos. I'll say it again because I love her. So I am planning on reading this before the end of the year is up, because I need to. The next book I have is The Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy by Mackenzie Lee. This is another book that I was really looking forward to reading. I haven't read it yet, but I actually bought this when I went to pick up my pre-ordered copy of Vicious because Parnassus had signed editions. But this is the sequel to The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which was one of my favorite books from last year. Only this one we follow his sister Felicity, and I believe Felicity is asexual, which is really cool. I haven't, like I said, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'm really excited to because I loved the first book, and I'm hoping that I'll really love this one as well. So I bought quite a few books in September, but now we're going to move on to October. The very first book I purchased in October was An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. Again, I haven't had a chance to read this yet, but I was really excited to see Hank being able to publish this book. I know that he's been writing it for a really long time, and I've heard really good things about it so far. I don't really know the plot of it. I don't think I want to know. I think I want to go into this one kind of surprised, but I know that it's an adult contemporary story, and I think it might have some sci-fi elements. I'm not entirely sure, but I've heard that it's really, really good, and I'm really excited for Hank, so I'm planning on reading this very, very soon. The next book I bought should be a surprise to absolutely no one, and that book is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. This is the final book in the Throne of Glass series. I have already read this. I've already talked about it in my November wrap-up, so I will link that down below if you want to know my thoughts. But oh man, was this book good. This book is basically the reason why all of these other books that I am hauling that I'm saying were my anticipated books but I haven't read, this is the reason why I haven't read them, because it took me a while to read this one. But it was worth it. The Throne of Glass series is one of my favorite series of all time. It's definitely in the top 5, and I'm just really glad that I own this. It is a little strange with the color choice. It doesn't quite flow with the aesthetic of the other books, but I also think that it kind of suits it because it's the last one, so it's much brighter. Anyway, moving on. When I went to pick up Kingdom of Ash, I also decided to go ahead and pick up What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. This is their new YA contemporary. I don't know anything about the plot really, but it's a queer YA. I love Becky Albertalli's books. I really like Adam Silvera's books. So this was kind of an auto buy for me. I actually have heard that it's not as good as the hype was when this book was rumored to be coming out. So I'm really hoping that I like it, but I did manage to snag a signed edition at Target, which was cool. Also, Kingdom of Ash is signed as well. which was really exciting. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so hopefully I will get to it very soon. The next 2 books I have actually came in the October OwlCrate box because 2 books came in that box. The first one is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa, and I don't remember the plot of this at all, but this is a YA fantasy book. I think it has Asian elements. Yeah, I don't remember anything about the plot at all, but I think I'll probably want to go into this one blind. I haven't heard a whole lot of people talk about it, so I don't know if it's been like widely received or if people aren't liking it as much. I really don't know. But I'm glad that I have the OwlCrate edition because I really, really love the red and I think it's really, really pretty. And then the second book that came in that box was Pride by Evie Zaboy. This is a YA contemporary retelling of Pride and Prejudice. This one I've heard is really, really good, and it's definitely one that I am interested in reading very soon. I may wait till closer to summer to read this though. That's kind of more of when I read a lot of contemporary, is kind of towards the summer months. I like Pride and Prejudice. It's not like my favorite classic or anything like it is for a lot of people, but I did enjoy it and I am really looking forward to reading this. Like I said, I've heard a lot of really good things about it so far. Then in the month of November, I actually only acquired 2 books and that's it, which is strange for me. The first one is the November pick for OwlCrate, which is a book that I was very excited to get, and I was really hoping this would be the book in that box. So I was excited that it was. That is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Negan? Not sure. This is the new queer YA fantasy. I don't remember much about the plot, but I've heard amazing things about it, and I was really, really excited to read it, so I'm glad that I have this book now. I'm glad I have the OwlCrate version because it's very beautiful. It's not too different from the original cover. There's just a little more like purple and other like different kinds of colors going on. And also it has a mat for the end pages, and I don't think that the original one does. But yes, I'm very excited to read this. I wanted to get to this before the end of the year, and I don't think that's going to happen. But I will probably be reading this early in the new year. And the last book I have was actually a gift. And that book is The Crimes of Grindelwald screenplay by J.K. Rowling. To be honest, I didn't know if I was going to buy this, but somebody purchased it for me as kind of like a goodbye gift whenever I changed jobs. And so I went to redeem the pre-order. I actually didn't much care for the movie that much, but I will probably still read the screenplay at some point just because it's a fast read. I'll probably read it, but I didn't much care for The Crimes of Grindelwald, to be completely honest, but it's very pretty. And I'm also very grateful that somebody was thoughtful enough to get this for me, so thank you very much. So that's it for my fall book haul. Haven't read most of these, but I'm working on it. Let me know down in the comments, out of all the books that I hauled, which one is your favorite, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye.